Hi, guys. This is my very short, brief note on September 11th. When I started teaching law, this event was very much in people's minds, and most people had a fairly good knowledge of the events of September 11th and its impact on your privacy rights. But the longer I teach and the longer we get from this kind of important historical moment, the less people we know have lived through it, and most of you guys were born after it. Well, you all have been born after it. But I'm just going to quickly go over, again, the events of September 11th, because it is because of this event, a lot of our privacy rights as Canadians, not necessarily just as students, but as Canadians and people of the world, are dramatically changed by this particular event. So September 11th, 2001, a terrorist attack against the United States. Terrorists hijacked and crashed 4 planes. 3,000 people died, and $3 trillion in damages was done. It happened in New York City, again, the Twin Towers, and again, Washington, D.C. Again, this was the attack on the Pentagon. And finally, the final plane crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Again, the date is often what we remember, September 11th, 2001. That's what people know. Again, when you say this date, it is the event I'm talking about in which people associate it with. Again, the WHO, it was 19 terrorists from a terrorist group, Al-Qaeda. Again, most people know what that is, but it's almost the precursor of ISIS, which more people are aware of because it's a more recent terrorist group. And how did it work? It was actually very simple and, again, straightforward and not very technical. It was teams of hijackers, again, 5 on 3 and then 4 on the last one, used box cutters, not guns. It was box cutters, and they took over the planes and purposely crashed them into important buildings. And that plane that had 4 hijackers, that was the one in which passengers were able to retake control. But unfortunately, the plane was downed by the terrorists into Farmers Field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. So it is because of this event, many things change, and a lot of other important historical events are put in motion. So it is because of this event, it sparks the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. And well, again, most of our military has been removed from Iraq, and American military as well. The war in Afghanistan is still somewhat ongoing. There are peace talks between the Taliban and the West, but the violence is still happening. So 19 years later, we're still dealing with the ramifications. Again, it changes airport security forever. Again, you cannot bring sharp objects, no liquids. Again, the 3D scanners, bomb sniffers. This was not as prevalent. There was still security in airports, but it was not as prevalent as it is today and kind of in your face. And there also changes massively the surveillance of the average individual. Again, international security. How much, again, the government knows about you because of this. We'll get into more detail about the specific ways in which people violate your privacy on a day in, day out basis. But just be aware, it was because of this event. That's why it's happening. So if you have any questions about September 11th, feel free to contact me on Google Meet or Classroom.